It's like Andrew Tate said, when I was little, I thought adults were smart and had everything figured out. Now I'm an adult and I'm like, what the fuck?
Let's talk politics.
Let's go.
Trump or Biden?
Trump.
What would your fish food brand be called if it was a dating profile?
Next. Swipe.
Would you rather go on a perfect date but forget their name, or a terrible date with your soulmate?
Forget their name. That's a given.
Would you rather get ghosted after a great date or be stuck in a 5-hour awkward one?
Well, there was this guy who said that dogs attacking me in Ecuador was very beautiful. And I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. School is not as important as it seems. And you're gonna get cats. You're gonna get 2 cats, not one. You're gonna find one in a dumpster and you're gonna bring her home and she's gonna get lonely. So you're gonna go and you're gonna buy another one and you're gonna name him Mofsta and you're gonna have 2 cats. And then you're gonna get the lizards you always wanted. And then you're gonna breed the lizards and you're gonna get even more. And then you're gonna get the warehouse you always wanted. And you're gonna have people working for you. You're gonna have time on your hands and you're gonna travel where you want. And you're gonna have the car you want. And you're gonna have a happy family and everybody's gonna be okay. And Mox is gonna have, your little brother's gonna have surgery and it's gonna be really scary, but he's also gonna be okay. And everything is gonna be okay at the end of the day.
Incredible story. I think you have. We're gonna get all into this. This is a crazy story, I promise. I think you guys are really gonna like this. Welcome back to the show, everyone, where we talk hustle, chaos, and everything in between. If you're chasing your dreams, dodging red flags, and trying to build an empire before your next mental breakdown, you are in the right place. Today, I've got someone in the building who's not just swimming with sharks, but she is feeding them. She's 21 years old, runs her own pet food business, and is turning flakes and pellets into profit. But don't get it twisted. She's not just about fish tanks and formulas. She's young, she's ambitious, she's got stories. Please welcome to the podcast, Miss Kat.
Okay, I'm just gonna, don't mind me.
I think I did a pretty good intro.
Yeah?
It took 3 tries, but I think I got a pretty good intro.
Not counting the not recorded one.
Yeah, we filmed the podcast and the whole audio in Kat's thing got cut. And now we're back filming it again. But honestly, I think it's a little bit better now because there's not a lot of chaos going around.
Yeah, and it's dark
quieter.
outside.
It's dark outside. It's quieter. You got a shadow behind your back. It's all good. So welcome to the podcast. I got you a surprise.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Your favorite matcha latte.
I'm gonna need it today.
Why?
Because it's nighttime and I am not a night owl.
There we go. Look at that. Look, they wrote something. What did they write?
Dunjoy.
Dunjoy?
Dunjoy.
I think they meant enjoy.
Dunjoy.
We are here with Kat. Kat, you are 21 years old, like I said, and you have an amazing business related to pets, right?
Indeed.
Anyway, let's get us started with your story, where you're from, and all that good stuff.
So I was born here in Brooklyn. Well, I was actually born in Manhattan, but in New York City. So lived in America, in New York, my whole life. My parents are from the Soviet Union, so my mom is from Ukraine, and my dad is from Tajikistan, even though he calls himself Russian. But he's a Tajik.
Nice.
But I've always known myself as an American. This is the only life I've ever known. This is my best language. Doesn't get better than this. The other ones only get worse from here on out. So yeah.
Nice. And you have a fish business or a pet food business or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, so we manufacture pet supplements, so like calcium supplements for aquatics.
The only reason I get it confused is because you are Kat's Aquatics.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it is food for fish, but I don't like to say a fish business because that just sounds weird. So I say pet supplements.
Kat's Pets.
Yeah, well, I was also like 16 when I named it, 15, so I wasn't thinking too deep about it.
Okay, so let's start from there. How'd you end up with this business?
So if we go the long way, I lived in Staten Island for 6 out of my 21 years. And there I got a dog for my birthday, for my 12th birthday. Her name was Betsy. She was a golden retriever. And she was by my side all the time. I mean, I've been obsessed with animals for as long as I can remember. But in Staten Island, we lived in a house right next to the woods with a big backyard. And then we moved to Brooklyn to an apartment. And we all decided that it's just not fair to take such an athletic, high-energy dog to the city where we're going to be gone half the day and then she won't have access to backyard or the woods. So we found a very nice family and we rehomed her there. But then I got really upset, as one does when your best friend is given away. And my parents were like, okay, well, this child is obsessed with animals. What's the easiest animal we can get her that's not going to create a headache for us? They said no to lizards. They said no to hedgehogs. They said absolutely no to birds. So they're like, let's get her a fish tank. This will be the least amount of issues. And they were quite wrong, because I turned that one fish tank into 2 fish tanks and then 3 fish tanks and then many, many more, because I somehow always breed things when I have access to them. So the fish started breeding and I just kept growing from there.
So you had fish that were breeding, and how did you start making the fish food?
So I had fish that were breeding and I was selling them to a local fish store here in Manhattan. The owner's name was Chi, and he was buying the fish from me for like $2 each. He was actually really nice, and I'm still in contact with him today. He's super cool guy, but I was selling them for $2, and then I was like, wait, but I'm selling them to him for $2, and he's selling them for like anywhere from $8 to $15. And I'm like, I feel like I could create more revenue. Like, why am I including a middleman when I could just make that money myself?
You had this thought at 14?
Yeah. So I decided I'm going to start selling them myself. I checked out eBay. That was the easiest way to start selling. I started shipping them out. And then I noticed that they started having issues. They were sick. They were dying. And through some science, some testing, I discovered that they have calcium deficiencies. So I created a product for myself.
How'd you test the fish?
Well, it's like if whoever's in fish keeping kind of knows what's up. There's some symptoms that really easily correlate to a calcium deficiency. They're sick because you can see in the way they swim, they're weak, and then they eventually start dying. So I created the supplement for myself, and then I started selling it just along with the fish because, you know, why not? I'm already making it. And at one point, people started asking me for the supplement more than they were asking me for the fish. So I was like, all right, there was this e-commerce guy in my high school who was like selling courses on how to run businesses. I checked out that course. I'm like, okay, well, I need a brand name. I don't know what the brand name is. Let's just make it Cat. My name is Cat, and aquatics, because it's related to aquatics. Slap that on there. And then I just kept growing, and one thing kind of snowballed into another.
Interesting. So you were selling it in like Ziploc bags?
No, it was, okay, so I was always selling it in jars. At first it was a powder, and I came to my older brother at the time, and I'm like, these jars are on Amazon for $50, and that's really expensive. It's like 20 jars for $50, and I don't know, like that's a lot of money for me. He's like, just do it. Like, what's the worst you're gonna lose? Just do it. So I did it. I was selling the powder in jars, and then one of my customers was like, why don't you make this in like a tablet form? It would be a lot easier to feed that way. I'm like, that's a really incredible idea. So from there, I stopped making the powder completely, and I turned it into a tablet form, and I made eventually 4 variations of that tablet form, and I went from there.
So from a customer, you made a product.
Yeah, I really want to meet this guy. I don't know who he is or where he is now.
Would you give him a percentage of the business?
I don't know about that one. We don't give up equity very easily, but I would give him a thank you at least.
Just a thank you?
I don't know.
Like a pat on the shoulder? You wouldn't give him anything?
No, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Probably.
What?
If the guy knows who he is, feel free to come forward.
And you'd give him a percentage?
Not a percentage, because you don't give up equity of a business. But I give him something. I give him a treat.
Like what? Like a dog treat?
I don't know. Something.
It's funny. Anyway, okay. So you went on selling this calcium in jars, and then you started selling more and more. How'd you get the fan base to sell?
Well, at first it was just on eBay. So it first started spreading through word of mouth. Like, people would buy it. They're like, hey, you know, they talk to their friends. They'd be like, hey, this product really works. You should try it for your animals, for your fish. And then I would start taking it to trade shows. They have small trade shows and big trade shows, basically where all the fish people come together. Everybody has their own booth and they sell their things. And the cool thing about these places is that YouTubers come there. So as with every hobby, with every niche, there's like famous people within the hobby and the niche, and they're all there. So I would just travel 1,000 miles to these shows, and I'd bring 10 jars with me, and I'd come up to them and I would say, would you like this jar? Could you just try it with your animals? The real goal was to either get them to make a video about it or to sell it on their websites and in their stores. But I wouldn't say that. I would just give it to them. I'd be like, hey, just try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And
how old
went
were you
from there.
doing that?
At that point, I was either 16 or 17.
So
Probably 16.
You go around trade shows, you give them the stuff to sell, and they would either sell it or not sell it.
Well, many of them said no. Many of them were like, nah, we're okay. But a few of them I'm still super close with today said yes from the very beginning. They were like, make sure you have insurance, because if something goes wrong, I want to be covered as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to have insurance, cover me, and I'll test it with my fish. I'll see how I like it. If I like it, we'll go from there.
Right. And at that point, like, you were traveling with your parent? Like, you were traveling on your own funds? Like, your parents were funding it?
No, so I was already making a little bit of money from what I was doing. So pretty much everything is bootstrapped with this business. It was just, if I make $10, I reinvest the $10 into something else. There was a point about 2 years into the business where my parents loaned me $4,000. That was to put my first order of like professionally made jars,
Mm-hmm.
which was a really big and scary step for me. And I was also able to get a booth at one of these trade shows. So the booth was like $1,000, and then plus travel. I think it was, the first one was either in Florida or in Texas. So it was travel, renting a car, renting the booth. So all that $4,000, and that really helped take the business to the next level.
Did you pay them back?
With interest, actually, recently. They actually never pressured me to pay it back, but I couldn't have that sitting on my back, so I gave them back $5,000 instead of $4,000.
What happened after that? You went to all these trade shows, so that's how you would market the product.
Yeah, so I never did any official marketing. I never did, I dabbled in Google ads, but never spent much time, energy, or money on that. It was mostly just building an organic reputation. So, selling more products, people talk about it. I did a little bit of Instagram, and I still do, but at the time I was really shy because I didn't want my classmates to call me the fish girl, which they did. But that's why I was shy at the time. And I still kind of do hold on to that a little bit, but I try to push forward. And then eventually, once you get to know people, you get your product into stores, and then you get these YouTubers to make videos on the products. And since the YouTubers have a really good repertoire with their customers and with their fan base, whatever they say, their customers believe, and then they try it out, and they love it, and then word of mouth keeps spreading.
So would you say to market a product, it's better to do it formally and in person?
I mean, that's just the easiest way for me. I like to personalize it. They get to see the face, they know who makes it, and then they get to try it out and actually enjoy it. But what I will say from me buying products, I think it is also important to get professional marketing done, even though I've never really done that. So I think you can be successful without it.
You were little. How'd you get them to trust you?
I don't know. I was just, a lot of them didn't. A lot of them said no. And a couple of them still say no to this day.
So you think people just felt bad?
I don't know if they felt bad. I think they just kind of admired the fact that I was brave enough to offer it to them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them also said that, because this is a mostly male-dominated space, so the average person in this hobby is a 40-year-old male. So the fact that a 16-year-old girl was coming up to them was really intriguing, and they figured, what am I going to lose by trying this?
And is this are you trying to sell this product at this point to hobbyists, people who own stores, or? So
we do direct to consumer. Our biggest volume, the most volume, goes to Amazon right now. We sell on Chewy, but right now I'm really focusing on stores, so business to business. I like selling to stores because even though I sell it, so let's say if I sell the product to a customer for $13.50, I sell it to the stores for $7. But they buy in huge bulk, so they buy 50, 100, 200 jars,
right?
And it makes much more sense to do it that way. Plus, when customers are able to see it at a store, it just makes it more easy for them to buy it. And once you see something many times, it kind of stays on the top of your mind.
Do you want to is there a preferred audience that you want to market to though?
As in?
Only fish stores, only hobbyists, only...
I mean, only fish stores would make the most sense. I think I'm eventually going to move out of selling directly to people, mm-hmm. because it takes a lot of time to package, because when I send out orders, I write handwritten thank yous. I write our logo on there.
On every single order?
On every single order. And that gets pretty time consuming, yeah.
Why?
Because I like to add the personal touch.
But that's a lot.
That is a lot, but I mean, how else are you going to compete with huge conglomerates like Amazon? I mean, even though while I'm working with Amazon and they're selling my product, I'm also kind of competing with them because they take a big chunk of the profits that I make. So, I mean, Chewy is a good example. Chewy was able to differentiate from Amazon because they make things personal. You know, when your dog has a birthday, they send you a happy birthday card and a gift card. When your dog or cat passes away, they send you, you know, a memorial also. They send you cute things, and that just adds a human personal touch in this technology world we're in.
But like, this is gonna be a funny question. What, like, are you genuinely passionate about like the aquarium side of things, or did you just start doing it because you were like, wow, this could make me a living?
You know, at first I wasn't. At first I was just really upset that I don't have a dog. And, you know, I didn't have cats at the time or any other animals that I have now. So at first I wasn't, but once I got into it, I really am. I think it's really, really interesting. I mean, even here at the warehouse, I have like 20 tanks. I don't make money off of those tanks at all. If anything, they just cost money for me to run and maintain. But I genuinely enjoy it. And every time I'm here, I'm like, wow, I'm really happy I'm actually getting to do what I like.
Okay, but how would somebody go about that? What if somebody has a product right now? Like how do they go about marketing it to all these people? How do they get it out there? How do they get to a level of where they need a warehouse to manufacture their product? Because I'm sure there's some people making stuff at home right now that they use personally and maybe sell on eBay.
Well, the first thing I would say is start selling. That's number one. A lot of people are scared to start selling because they think that their product isn't perfect. They want to wait till it's perfect, and it'll simply never be perfect. Nothing is perfect. The camera, the iPhone, nothing is ever perfect. You launch what you have, and then your customers will tell you how to make it better. And then once you launch it, social media is huge. I'm not really one to talk because I don't have a massive social media presence, but social media is huge. One viral video could change everything for you.
Right.
And then just genuinely have a good product and try to attack a niche marketplace, somewhere where there isn't a ton of competition. So
this is very niche.
This is very niche. So something like clothing or even dog food would be much more difficult to get off of the ground because how many clothing brands do you know? Or how many do you not know? Unless you have like
some crazy marketing genius idea set up behind it. That's the only way.
That would take a lot more.
Okay, but like these people that are making their food, they might say, what if I get attacked by like the FDA, or like what if it needs to be tested more, or this or that?
Well, the FDA is a little more lax with pet food than they are with human food. Basically, there are regulations, so you have to have certain things on your packaging. So you have to have like the nutritional facts, your guaranteed analysis, you know, your location, your warehouse, your contact information. Not your warehouse, it could be just your business address. And then you have, if somebody raises a red flag and they go and test your product has to be within 20% of what you claim it is. And then if it's not, then you'll get fined. But unless somebody raises a red flag, the FDA is not going to test it.
So did you do all the testing yourself?
Yeah, I did do all the testing myself. We will be sending it off to labs shortly though. But it's a
Why
bit
are you
of...
going to send it to labs?
Because I want to get it exactly professionally done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like what, there's going to be a little sticker on it, lab tested or something?
Yeah, that's literally all it is.
Nice.
It's like a diploma, you know, you get a piece of paper.
And what does it say?
It's just like a circle that you put on the thing. It could be whatever. It could be verified organic or verified this, verified that.
Did you have to do a lot of testing? Like what if the fish didn't like it? Like did you have trial and error, stuff like that?
Yeah, there was a lot of trial and error. It wasn't that difficult because the fish I'm targeting are actually scavengers by nature, so they're not too picky with what they eat, which is why even though it's a niche business and it seems pretty small, it's pretty easy to do because the fish that I target aren't too picky with what they eat. But at the same time, you had to know what the issue was, so you did have to find out that it was calcium that they needed. You know, and the biggest thing for us was not to affect water quality because I kept discus at the time, and discus are extremely sensitive to any sort of changes.
Interesting. So you did the testing basically yourself, and now you're sending it out to somebody who's actually going to get it tested and stuff like that.
Well, the testing is done. Like the testing that we did is fully valid.
Right.
There's just additional testing that you could always do. There's never an end to this type of stuff. There's just, you could always improve on certain things.
So you start selling this product, you're going to these trade shows, you're marketing online, on Instagram, on social media, slowly getting more orders. And at this point, what are you selling every month?
Every month, Right. I mean, it's growing literally every single month. So we sold more this month than we did last month. And last month we sold more than we did the month before. So right now, just on Amazon, we're doing 2,000 jars a month. And that's just Amazon. That's not counting all of our retailers. That's not counting personal orders. That's just Amazon. That's just the easiest metric to track. So I would say like 3,000 a month with everything.
Did you see yourself here 2 years ago?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah? So you
Yeah,
saw
I
2,000
believed
plus
in
a
it.
month?
I mean, I'm a little delusional when it comes to things like this, so it didn't seem too hard to achieve because...
Did you set a higher goal?
Yeah.
What'd you set?
Actually, my goal, I made a vision board, I think 3 years ago, and my goal was to sell 1,000 jars a month.
There we go.
So, yeah.
That's crossed out.
Yeah. Yeah, now the goal is a bit bigger than that.
So a year ago, would you say you were doing 1,000 jars a month?
A year ago, yeah.
And you were 20?
Yeah.
So basically this all started when you were like around 17.
I mean, it started full force during the pandemic.
Full force during the pandemic.
Well, not full force, but I really like honed in the product and started selling it during the pandemic, like a few months into it.
I don't think it really started full force during the pandemic. I think it started after that.
Well, yeah, technically it started once I incorporated the business, once I turned 18.
Right.
But I really came up with the product and started delving into this once I was able to not go to school and stay home and just have a lot of free time on my hands.
Have you faced any moments where your age, being so young, worked against you?
Not really, honestly.
No?
I mean, recently, I feel like people have been really talking to me in a strange way and like kind of trying to threaten me with some sort of authority because I'm so young. But that's not really related to the business. That's more related to that's not related to Cats Aquatics or my customers or my retailers. It's more just people in the vicinity of where we work. So people who wouldn't matter if I saw them again or not. But in terms of business, no retailer has ever doubted me or judged me, with the exception of a few. Most people just kind of trusted me.
And how do you juggle that? How do you juggle business and life? Because you're still young. You're still trying to figure everything out.
Yeah, I'm still in college. Try to go to the gym, but lately it's been so busy. And the warehouse, hiring employees was a game changer.
Yeah, but that's now.
Yeah.
What about when you were like 17, 18, 19, 20?
I just did it. I don't like sitting still, ever. So I actually prefer to be working. I prefer to be doing something than just relaxing and watching a movie. So it kind of works in my favor. I feel like that's just a personality trait that I have. I just know it needs to get done. And whenever it's hard, I always tell myself, well, if it wasn't hard, there would be no good reward. Nothing good ever came easy. So it's actually a blessing that I get to struggle now because I know that I'm building something for myself and for others.
So would you rather work hard or work smart?
You know, my dad said if you're not smart, then you will work hard with your hands. But if you're smart, you'll work hard with your mind. I think there's just different definitions of hard. I don't think there's an answer. I think working smart is still working hard because you're not just born smart. You have to get that knowledge somehow.
I think if you want to make it anyway, I think you have to do both.
Yeah, I don't think it's either or.
If you're working smart, somebody's working smart and hard. You know what I mean?
If you're working smart, you still have somebody working hard for you. It's not easy to be smart. The knowledge doesn't get dumped into your brain.
There's people out there who are smart and work hard.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Exactly. So like if you're working hard, you should be working smart as well. And if you're working smart, you should be working hard as well.
But you don't have to work hard with your hands anymore.
Not necessarily, but like, you know, just getting out there and doing it, no matter how you feel.
Yeah, I think working hard is very important. And I personally don't think I work hard. I think that there's always an extra level I could do. Whenever I tell people, or even when I think to myself how much I do, I'm like, wow, I really do a lot. And then when I say it or when I verbalize it, it does sound like a lot. But inside, I feel like I'm not doing as much as I could be. And I think that's always going to be the case.
So you always feel like you're not doing enough?
Yeah.
Every single day?
Yeah.
Even if you work crazy? So you're never fulfilled?
No, I get fulfilled. I learned to be content because when I was younger, I was like, oh, if I make this much money, like if I make $10,000 a month, everything will be okay. Like I'll be happy at 10,000. But once you start making 10,000 a month, you realize, well, with 10,000 a month comes a whole lot more responsibilities and a lot more expenses. And you develop a taste for more expensive things as well. So you'll truly never be happy if you're looking for the next thing. So I'm really happy with where I'm at. And ever since that 10,000, and I realized, okay, well, if I'm not going to be happy at 10,000, then I'll never be happy. So I'll just be happy now. And just decided I'm just going to enjoy life. But I'm just not content in how hard I work. I think I could
So
always
was it
work
about
harder.
the money for you for a little bit?
I mean, I don't trust people who say, oh, I don't care about the money. Everybody cares about money. At the end of the day, you need to live, you need to survive. In order to build things, in order to keep building the business, I have to be profiting something. I have to be generating income in order to be putting it back into the business.
Yes.
So it has to be a little bit about the money. But there's many things that I've done that, I exchange money for a better product. I added many new ingredients to the product that make it more expensive to make, but I know it's a better product. So it's both. It's about the love for it, the quality of the product, and of course it has to be about money, because you're not gonna, if it wasn't about the money, I wouldn't have anything today.
Because there are people out there who are working jobs or doing things just for the money.
Yeah.
Not just happiness, like they're just thinking about the money. Do you think that's right?
Well, not everybody's in a position to do what they love at all
What
times.
about the people who are in the position, but they just love the money so much?
Well, listen, to each their own. If that's your goal,
There's people out there who are making a decent living going, I hate my job and I hate my life.
Well, then the money doesn't make them
something.
happy.
You should
The money
change
doesn't
something.
make them happy enough then. There are also some people who don't really like their job, but I think Mr. Beast said this. He said, no, I forgot who said this. Somebody said this. One of the big guys said it. He said, some people's aspiration is to have a lot of money. And if that's what it is for you, you can't really judge somebody for that. Some people want a family. Some people want a nice car. Some people want a nice house. Some people just want numbers in their bank account. It's whatever motivates you, as long as you're not being malicious towards others.
Mm-hmm. And how do you handle like the logistics and packaging and stuff like that with the business?
So it's a bit, I mean, it's not that tough. I would say the packaging is kind of the easiest part. The biggest thing is getting workers to come in and create what you need, because every week is different. I mean, some weeks we sell, 600 jars. Some weeks we sell 1,000 jars. It's just always having quantity, and there's so many things that go into it. You need to have the containers, you need to have the lids, you need to have every single ingredient. You need to make sure all of the machinery is working. You need to make sure that you have all of the labels. There's a lot to keep in stock, and it's easy to forget until you go to pack something and it's not there, and then you realize there's a 4-week lead time on this. That's one of the toughest things I deal with. Mm-hmm. But in terms of everything else, you gotta have your systems in place. Amazon has a great system, and then the website. So the packaging is the easiest part.
Do you have personal time as well?
Yeah, I have personal time. I mean, I go to class, so I'm still in college, so I go to class Monday through Thursday. Then immediately after school, I go to the warehouse, and then I have usually somebody working there, so they're getting the calcium done. I do whatever else needs to be done. I reach out to retailers, I do customer service, I am developing new products currently, and then afterwards, I go home, I enjoy, spend time with loved ones, play with the cats, and then I do love my trips, so I try to go on a trip every now and then, abroad somewhere, every few months. And, I have some time on the weekends, sometimes.
And you said you have competition?
I do have competition, but not as much as I would in a different industry. Mm-hmm. So I did have, when I first started, obviously the competition was bigger than me. I would say I am the biggest in this very specific thing. So in the calcium supplement space for aquatics, in this specific thing, I'm the biggest. But of course, there are way, way bigger, like just fish food companies that are out there. Right. But it doesn't seem like they're trying to directly compete with me yet. Yet. They probably will. Yeah, they could.
And
Nothing's stopping them.
You think they will?
I think they will, which is why I'm trying to create just like strong brand loyalty and a great product that's going to be hard to just rip off. Because realistically, nothing's stopping anybody from
What about those people who want to start something, but they're scared of that? They're scared that a competitor could do better.
You can't be scared. You got to be competitive. I mean, PBD says business is war. You got to go in there. You got to be brave, and you got to fake it till you make it. You got to be a little bit delusional, think that you could achieve this, but at the same time, you just have to know within your heart that you're solving a problem for people. Mm-hmm. It's the easiest way to start a business is to find a problem and to solve it. That's just the best way.
Mm-hmm. So where do you see your brand in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see us being in Petco, not in this warehouse anymore. I see us buying property somewhere towards Middle America, creating a whole factory, and probably private labeling out, because I discovered my biggest strength is actually formulating products. I'm not the biggest fan of marketing, and stuff like that, I actually like creating. So if I'm able to create things and then private label that out, I think that would be great.
So you love creating products.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that do as well. And like, what's something that you think people are missing when they're creating products? People that like create something, but they just can't really get it out there.
I think there's so many products in this world. I think there has to be not only a little bit of innovation, it has to be something that's difficult for others to copy. So I know people who make like decorations for fish tanks, right? Even though it's an incredible idea and their designs are unique at the time, something like a decoration is very easy to copy. It's very easy for China to just go, okay, great, we'll put this plastic together for a fraction of the price and we'll just push you out of the marketplace. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, especially in the way that I make my products, it's very different from the traditional methods. So I think something a little harder to copy and a little more innovative than others.
Like what, packaging wise, or like creative in what way? I feel like anybody can copy anything, not just the design.
I mean, it's different for everybody. Like for us, it's creative.
I'm sure if you go look at ingredients in something right now, you'll be able to make basically the same thing and maybe put your own twist on it.
I mean, why don't you go make Coca-Cola?
What?
Why don't people rip off Coca-Cola?
It's so big, it's impossible.
No, it's not. You just said you could look at the ingredients and create the same thing.
I mean, people have.
But nobody succeeded.
Nobody succeeded.
Because they have the branding, and still you can't. Whoever makes Coca-Cola, the ripoff version, it's still never as good as the real thing.
I don't really drink Coca-Cola, but
okay, anything. Ginger ale, poppy, even.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to rip off.
But again, like people still try to get in that market. People try to make the next best soda, the next best kombucha.
Well, it's the next best, but if yours is good enough and hard to copy, then you could stay a staple. Just like Coca-Cola and Hershey's chocolate did for how many decades?
A lot of decades.
A lot.
A lot of decades. Would you ever expand into other pet products?
Yeah, so we're doing aquatics right now. I'm honestly waiting to graduate so I can have all of my time back to me, because right now 4 days a week in college, I mean, that's a lot of time and brain energy going into like chemistry and microbiology.
Yeah.
I really want that time back for myself, and right now we're making reptile products, which I'm excited for. And then once I really want to solidify this aquatics and reptiles and have it worldwide. Struggling to get into Canada. They're not allowing me through. They just keep sending it back. And then after that, I eventually want to go cats and then dogs.
Okay. That makes sense. Cats and dogs. That's going to be tough.
I mean, it's all about how you structure it, you know. You can if you think that it's hard, if you think that it's hard. Stuff. Yeah, but if you think that it's hard before even stepping foot into it, it's going to be 10 times harder.
That's facts.
You can't just go into something and be like, "Oh no, it's going to be so hard." All right, it's going to be hard, and what? Nothing good was ever easy.
100%.
You know?
There's a million podcasts out there, but we're the number one in the world.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I have more questions, and I'm deciding on if I want to move on from the business thing or if I want to keep going.
It's up to you.
I feel like that went by so fast.
That did go by really fast. No, I mean...
But I feel like I got through everything. I mean, I think people watching this are just going to be interested in like how you did it so young and where you got that mindset from. Like where did you get that mindset from? I mean, like you have none of that in your background.
Yeah, I don't. None of my parents are in business. My mom is in the medical field. My dad is, I don't even know. He works at a power station, so yeah. Nobody has it. But my mom would tell me ever since I was really young, like I would be a year and a half, 2 years old, and I wouldn't accept help with anything. I would always say, no, like I'll do it myself. I was always very independent, and I have a I'll do it myself mindset. So with that mindset, it would be very difficult for me to work with somebody, not with somebody, but for somebody.
Uh-huh.
So even when I didn't have the product that I needed, I didn't just go ahead and buy something that doesn't fit. I was like, no, I'll do it myself.
Right.
And then I created it myself, and I kept going. And again, there was this guy in high school who sold the courses, and he just kind of explained what it's like to live the 9 to 5, to work for somebody, work not just as hard. I think having a business, you have to work a little bit harder. I mean, I work almost 7 days a week, every week, but at least I know I'm building something for my company and I'm going to see the rewards that this brings.
And you still have time for like personal things?
Yeah,
so working 7 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, I still have time.
People don't want to work 7 days a week. Is that what it takes to run a business?
I think that's what it takes.
So you have to work 7 days a week to run a business?
I mean, not necessarily. You could always delegate.
I think you do.
I mean, no. I could hire people to do things for me.
Yes,
you know?
But there's always that thought in your head of what I can do more, what I can do next, and where can we go next. I don't think that thought doesn't slip by every day.
But I don't really look at it as work. Like, even when I have a day, last weekend, it was Saturday, and I was like, I don't really have anything planned for today. I just go to the warehouse. Right. And then I end up having like 12 hours of work to do because I started developing this new product. So right. I don't really look at it as work. It's something I enjoy doing, and I prefer to work than to, go on a walk or watch a movie. It's just, that's just how I am. I'm not suffering by any means.
Yeah. No, because you're enjoying what you do.
Yeah.
And it's bringing you income, and you get to live the life that you want because of that. And then I'm sure, you said that aquatics itself brings you joy.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm there and I'm like, I just sit back and I look around, and I'm really glad even to the point that I've come now, because I've been dreaming about it for a really long time, of just having my own place, something as simple as that oven. Whatever, it's like a $3,000 oven. It's not the biggest achievement ever, but
whatever.
It's not the biggest achievement, but just looking at it, I remember how badly I wanted it. Like 2 nice big doors. You open them up, and then you have all the space you need, and I can pretty much do whatever I want. And I was thinking about it for quite a few years before I was actually able to accomplish it.
Let's do some rapid fire.
Okay.
Favorite fish species?
Discus.
Worst smell you've had to deal with?
Dead snails.
Dead snails?
Yes. They're actually, it's by far the worst.
Fish or dog as a pet?
Dog.
Or actually, cat or dog?
Cat.
Cat?
Wait, cat or dog?
Cat or dog?
Dog.
As a pet?
Dog, even though I have 2 cats.
You have 2 cats.
Listen, cats and dogs are completely different animals. It's like comparing apples to oranges. You should appreciate them for what they are.
That's true.
It's true. Like, what do you think is more beautiful, flowers or a sunset? It's like, well, they're 2 completely different things.
Right.
You can't really compare them.
But you like them for their own thing.
Yeah, dogs are loyal. They come with you everywhere. They want to please you.
And cats?
Yeah, and cats, you want to please them.
If you guys only saw what she acts like with her cats, oh my god. What's your favorite song?
My favorite song?
Your favorite song. The song that keeps you going. The song that drives you when you're down.
Well, anything Bad Bunny, but if I had to pick one, it'd be Thunder and Lightning.
Bro, what's this obsession with Bad Bunny?
Listen, okay, do you want to know the story? Okay, so, I took Spanish class, as most Brooklyn kids did in high school.
Yeah.
And I went to study abroad in Spain, actually marine biology, funny enough, as a sophomore. And when I came to Spain, I thought I knew Spanish. And when I tried to speak, we had a class there, and the professor said, everybody who would speak, they would get clapped for, and I was the only one that didn't get clapped for. And I almost cried. I was actually so upset about it. So I was dedicated. I'll come back, and I'm going to learn more Spanish. So then I learned more Spanish, and one of the best ways to learn is watching movies and listening to songs, because you learn a lot when you listen to these songs. And then I went to Ecuador, and then they introduced me to Bad Bunny there. I'm like, this is fire.
You went to Ecuador when you were 16.
Yeah, with me and my friend for 3 weeks, which I would never allow my child to do. I don't know how my parents allowed that.
Do you have a child?
No, I do not have a child. But my future child, I would not be cool with that.
No?
No, he almost died.
So you would never let that happen?
No.
So what if your child was like, well, Mom, you did it?
And that's exactly why you're not doing it.
Oh my God. What if they're young and dumb like you? Would you want to deal with you as a mother?
I think about that sometimes. Another question similar to that is, would you want to marry yourself?
Yeah.
I think okay, I am I have my crazy tendencies, but I think that with my drive and with my ambition, and I believe I'm genuinely kind unless somebody wrongs me. I feel I'm genuinely empathetic, so I wouldn't mind. I'm not a perfect child. I have my stuff, but it wouldn't be the worst situation.
So you would?
Yeah.
You'd marry yourself?
When I marry myself? Well, two of me can't live together. That's for sure. Two of me can't live together. I think there would be dishes thrown at each other. But I would have me as a child.
So is it important to have that type of personality as a boss? As a business owner?
Well, I've always been really competitive. Like, I was the kid in gym class where everybody's like, bro, it's just gym class. Why are you going so hard? I was always really competitive, and I think if you're not competitive, you're not going to be able to cut it here.
So were you like a tomboy?
Yeah, I was a tomboy growing up.
Yeah?
Yeah. And bruises all over my legs. I mean, I still dress like a boy. Today's an exception. Sweatpants is just... I would always hang out with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Girls, they weren't as competitive. I always tried to be faster than them as well.
Faster?
Faster. We would always race. And I was the fastest for a long time until they hit puberty. And then I stopped being faster.
Then you became slow.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, with this business and with everything, do you still have time for personal relationships? What's your love life looking like?
Would you like to answer?
I'm the podcast host. I ask the questions, like I said before.
Yeah, I do have time. You're asking a lot about if I have time.
Well, that's what a lot of people think. They think business owners never have time.
I mean,
that's the whole thing about it.
It's all about what you prioritize. I really don't have time to hang out with friends. Me and my friend hung out the other day for the first time in 3 months. I really I don't prioritize that anymore. I still try to text and keep up and stay in touch, but something like spending the day in the city or going to a party, I don't see the point in going to the club at night. I just think it's such a waste of time and energy. Why would you want to go to a club where everybody's drunk, where everybody is just trying to escape their life, especially if it's a weekday? Whoever's at the club on a weekday is not in a good situation, and I don't think it's a good idea to put yourself in that circle.
Right.
So not only do I not have time for that, even if I did, I just wouldn't do it. Plus, I don't think any good decisions are made at 1 a.m. with alcohol involved.
That's very wise. That's very mature. That's very mature. A lot of people would not come to that conclusion so fast.
Yeah, I honestly feel like I'm missing out on the best years because I'm not going crazy. But I also realize...
You think you're missing out? I don't think you're missing out at all.
Well, because a lot of people that I went to high school with, I see they're at parties having fun. And there is a bit of FOMO, even though I know that I'd hate it there. It's weird.
You would hate it there. It's not fun. I think it's a place where people go to try to escape, but they never really escape, and that's why they end up going back.
Yeah. But with that being said, I think it is nice to go out every now and then. I'm not completely strict, don't drink, have fun, but yeah.
Right? What's your favorite place that I've taken you to?
Nobu.
Nobu? That's expands.
I have a taste.
Damn, you got a good bands by your side. How'd you choose?
Well, there was this guy who said that dogs attacking me in Ecuador was very beautiful. And this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
And that's why you liked it.
And I was like, let me see what else he has to say, because I've never heard anything this dumb.
That wasn't a red flag to you?
It wasn't a red flag. It was a question mark flag.
Alert! Question marks. Alert! That's funny. So basically, do you still feel like you're missing out?
Recently, not as much, because I'm really happy with where I am. I'm so happy with what I've been able to accomplish, and even I was able to get the car that I want, and I'm able to travel, and even though I say I don't have time, I really do have the option to not go to the warehouse. That's just what I choose to do. That's what I prioritize. But I'm not under any boss. Nobody's telling me, why are you 5 minutes late? Nobody's telling me, come in on Thursday, or no, you're not allowed to take this day off. So I'm really happy with where I am. Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm missing out.
No? That's good. There's this thing where it's like, oh, you have to party through your teens and then when you hit whatever age, you have to start studying and all this stuff. I don't think I necessarily agree with that either. Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing. I was trying not to choke on that. I was like trying to compose myself. No, and I also think, especially for girls, there's a sort of self-respect that you have to maintain for your body, which a lot of people don't have anymore nowadays. I think you have to maintain self-respect and decency.
Right.
In terms of not, going around.
Right. You're so professional. This is so weird.
How am I so professional?
You're never this professional.
All right.
Yeah, literally. Oh my God.
This is everything I genuinely think. You just never hear me out. I'm always like, hey, yeah, this is what I think. You're like, huh?
Which fish do you think has the most chaotic energy, and do you relate?
Fish?
Fish. Yeah. Do you like seafood, by the way, while you think of that question?
I do, but not raw. I have a mental block to eating raw food.
Because you see so many raw fish?
No, it's just, I don't know what it is. If you if you don't tell me it's raw,
she'll never eat oysters.
And I'm not able to tell, it'll be fine.
You cannot eat oysters.
Why would I want to eat salty boogers? That's literally what it is.
What's the most chaotic fish?
I don't know, Siamese algae eater.
Do you relate?
No, not really.
That's what ChatGPT
No, not really.
Guys.
No, I don't relate to a Siamese algae eater.
This ChatGPT is so funny. I'm just gonna ask you these because this is hilarious. What's harder, keeping a fish alive or a situationship from going stale?
Situationship from going stale, because I'm usually never interested. I just don't be caring enough.
What about me?
You're not a situationship.
Oh, okay, good. What would your fish food brand be called if it was a dating profile?
Next. Swipe.
Why swipe?
Terrible question. Would you like me to ask myself questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. What growth did the business undergo?
I think we talked about that.
No, that was the other one.
This one too.
No.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it monetarily.
Yeah, but that's going backwards. Now we're on relationships and stuff. You got to talk about some of that.
You want to talk about relationships or I ask questions?
You got to get juicy.
All right.
Would you rather date someone who hates pets or someone who can't stand music?
Can't stand music.
Would you rather go on a perfect date but forget their name or a terrible date with your soulmate?
Forget their name. That's a given.
Would you rather get ghosted after a great date or be stuck in a 5-hour awkward one?
Stuck in a 5-hour awful one.
Would you rather go viral for something embarrassing or never go viral at all?
Something embarrassing.
Would you rather land $1 million investor who's annoying or bootstrap forever but stay chill?
Annoying in what way?
I don't know, just annoying. That's what this is. This is ChatGPT, guys. This podcast is a little bit harder because I kind of know everything about her. So I can't even come up with questions on my own.
Yes, you can. Don't doubt yourself.
No, I'm serious. This is honestly I try to think about it, but I'm like a lot of these things I already know, so they don't even pop up into my head. You know what I mean? Let's talk politics.
Let's go.
Trump or Biden?
Trump.
That's crazy. I'm neutral.
No, you're not.
Would you rather restart your career with everything you know now or keep going with no changes?
No changes. Obviously restart. Why would I want to be stagnant for the rest of my life?
So you'd restart?
Yeah, I'll restart. No problem.
Oh, these would you rathers are for fish food queen right here.
No.
Ready? Would you rather be stuck in a fish tank for a day or never eat seafood again?
Stuck in a fish tank for a day.
Would you rather name every future product after your exes or after SpongeBob characters?
I don't have that many exes. It'd be named one thing. I did literally SpongeBob characters.
Would you rather have your brand on Shark Tank or have Drake post about it
Shark
once?
Tank.
Really? Why?
Because Drake's audience is not going to buy my products.
Drake?
Drake?
This man has a
Champagne Poppy?
This man has a lot of followers.
Okay, so I could be on Champagne's Gimme a Hug Poppy's Instagram, or I can be on Shark Tank and have the opportunity to talk to literal billionaires
but
and
they could say no, and then Shark Tank
geniuses.
takes 5% of your business.
that is true.
With Drake, it's just a shout out to like 350 million people, which is pretty much America.
I would still say Shark Tank.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because you have the opportunity. You're in the room with these people, and even the same thing with the Ring doorbell. Even if everybody says no to you, you get the right eyes on your product. You get investor eyes, not people who listen to rap. Well,
And
nothing against people who listen to rap, but
you
I'm just
think there's
saying.
going to be a lot of people in this category looking at fish food?
Well, there's investors. Even when I went to, business conferences that had nothing to do with it, investors are always interested.
Would you rather be wildly successful at something you don't love or barely make it doing something you're obsessed with? That's a tough one.
Wildly successful.
Wildly successful doing something you don't love? Really?
I'm just going to be completely honest.
So
I'm
what if
really
it's-
competitive.
What if it's porn star?
I'd rather be crying in a Porsche than happy in a box.
Would you rather impact 1 million strangers or deeply change one person's life forever?
Probably impact 1 million.
Okay. Would you rather fall in love with someone who challenges you or someone who always agrees with you?
Challenges. Even though I literally hate that, but challenges.
you want me to agree with you all the time.
Yeah, I know.
So you low-key like my challenging.
Your challenging is really strange, though.
No, my challenging is great. This is not my podcast. Don't talk about me.
Your challenging is like, what do you think you would do if you were a worm? Would you slither forward or backwards, or would you do a flip?
No, I actually have a question. Do you guys ask stupid questions? Because I feel like that's the highlight of my life.
No, I can't stand it.
It's amazing.
No, I literally can't stand it.
It's
Like, I
literally
spend so
great.
much brain power on chemistry and biology and business, and then it's like, hey, I'm hungry. Why? Hey, I'm going to the store to buy food. Why? What do you mean, why?
Would you rather have a love that lasts forever but you can't publicly share, or a love that's celebrated by everyone but destined to end?
Obviously, can't publicly share. You already don't share it.
What am I doing here? The hell? You're on my freaking home screen, bro. Show them your home screen. Where's your phone? I'm not on her home screen. Would you rather be truly loved by one or liked by thousands?
Loved by one.
Would you rather be fearless and fail or fearful but succeed?
Fearless but fail.
Why?
Because if you're fearful and you succeed, you're always going to be in a state of anxiety. I just don't want to live. I don't want to be fearful. Being fearful causes so much anxiety. If you're fearless and you fail, you're going to try again until you succeed. If you're fearful and you succeed, you just got lucky that you succeeded. And it just takes one mess up to fail.
Would you rather be forgotten or remembered for something you didn't mean to be?
Something I didn't mean to be.
Would you rather
I
live
didn't mean to be a fish person.
Would you rather live 10 more years doing what you love or 50 years doing what's expected of you?
10 more years doing what I love.
Yeah?
Wait. Like, I'll die after that?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
like
then
in 10
50 years. I want to have, like, a kids and family and stuff.
Would you rather leave behind your name or your impact?
My impact.
Your impact. Interesting.
My name will be okay.
Yeah?
People, if you leave an impact deep enough, people will eventually figure out what your name is.
That's true. You'll have a legacy behind you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shakespeare, people didn't even know, like, that's not even, I don't think that's his real name. William Shakespeare, I think.
Oh, yeah, there's, like, a whole conspiracy. There is a whole conspiracy that
I
he's
think
not the
there's
one
a
that wrote
whole
the
thing.
books.
Yeah, like, that's
I mean, people didn't know about Tesla for how long? Nikolai Tesla?
for a very long time. It was all
He was
stolen by
yeah, he was not mainstream for a
Thomas
really long
Edison.
time.
It was insane. Oh, man. Okay, well, I think that's a good place to end.
That's it?
What, that was fast? Was that
We
too
just did
fast?
Would You Rathers.
No, we didn't. We talked like for 40 minutes about the business. I was keeping track of the time.
I feel like it was mostly Would You Rathers.
No, the Would You Rathers were like for 20 minutes. I thought it was like a fun ending. I kind of like that. It's fun because then we really get to figure you out, you know?
All right, so what advice would you give to somebody who feels not motivated? I'm
Me?
asking myself questions.
Oh, you're asking? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a really good one.
I'm asking you questions that you
It's
asked.
so hard. First of all, it's hard because I know her. Second of all, it's hard because we already freaking did this.
Okay.
Anyway, there's people out there who are 16 or 40 or 70 and they want to start a business. What would you say to them?
Well, that's not really the question. It's the people who want to do something, but they feel unmotivated. For that...
Go for it.
No. I'm just rephrasing the question that we didn't film last time. But for that, I would say nobody really cares about how you feel. Nobody cares about your emotions. Nobody cares if you're tired. Nobody cares if you're sad or if you're depressed. You have to get up and you have to do what you know you have to do. Mm-hmm. So I learned this at that first trade show where I invested that $4,000, where it felt huge to me. And I'm not like the most social person ever. So standing at a trade show that I didn't really like what it looked like because I didn't know how to build it and I didn't know how to take it apart. And my dad was there yelling as he always is. And you just have to stand there and smile for 10 hours straight. And I was so exhausted and overwhelmed that day. And I just knew I had to go back the next day and just do it all over. And I so didn't want to. I was like, please, just anything other than this. And I realized that day that the world will continue spinning without you. Nobody cares how you feel. Like Aquashella, the trade show, it's not going to stop because I'm tired. They're not going to give me a break because I don't feel like it today.
Right.
You have to go and you have to do what you know you need to do. And you just have to tell yourself that everything good in life never came easy. Mm-hmm. If you live an easy life, I mean, you know, there's a saying, it's like you got to choose your hard. It's hard to be fat, but it's also hard to be skinny. You know, it's hard to be rich, but it's also really hard to be poor.
I don't think it's hard to be fat.
It is hard to be fat because a lot of diseases come along with that eventually.
So
you have to deal with body image issues. People say they don't, but let's be honest here. You have to deal with body image issues. You have a whole bunch of health complications after that. The large majority of fat people do. It's hard to become rich, but it's also hard to stay poor because then you have no money. You feel tied up. You know, you're tied to the job. You're tied to this. You feel like you can't afford things.
Yeah.
So everything is hard. Just choose which one you want.
Interesting. That was a really good question and answer. Yo, this is why you have to tune into our podcast because it's real. And honestly, I'm going to be real with you. My mind is so blank right now. I don't think it's ever been this blank. You know, I'm just tired.
No, it's because we filmed this twice already.
No, I don't know why. For yesterday and today, I'm really tired. You know, give me some advice. I'm tired.
Some advice for you?
I am so tired that I just want to crash, bro.
First of all,
I just want to crash.
You asked last podcast who's one of my business icons, and I said Patrick Bet-David.
Yes.
He said you are never allowed to use the word tired, the T word.
I'm not tired.
No, you cannot use the T
sleepy.
word. No, you have to just say, like, I worked hard today. That's it. You cannot say the word tired. You know?
I can't even say that confidently. I really didn't work that hard today. You know what it was? You know what really exhausted me? Losing the audio for this. That took a lot of energy out of me.
It's okay. It took energy out of me too.
But I tried. Like I said, guys, I didn't just give up. I downloaded an app that recovers deleted files, that recovers files that are gone in the depths of wherever they go. And I still didn't find them. And you know what? ChatGPT said, yeah, you're fucked. I'm like, okay, great. We'll do it again.
See, many people wouldn't do it. I didn't want to do it again. Yeah. I was already in the middle of, you know, being in the warehouse, getting some work done, and you're like, come back up. I'm like, oh my God.
No, I'm doing it again because, like I said, there's going to be a video every Sunday. And I'm really dedicated to getting a video out there every Sunday. Every Sunday. I wonder who the next guest is going to be. Do you want to do the next podcast too?
Yeah, we could actually talk about something interesting.
Exactly. We should have Nessa on here.
Oh, we can do that. We could actually talk numbers. We didn't talk any numbers about the business. There's a lot to talk about. One of the other questions you asked of, like, was there any, like, weird interactions you've had?
Yeah, I know. I just, honestly, like, I think it would be really interesting as well to not have Vanessa on here and talk numbers with, or like, her numbers as well.
She's a little more closed out, though.
I know, but I'm gonna try to open that.
You're not gonna open it.
I'm gonna try my best.
You're not gonna open it.
I'm gonna be me.
She's media trained. You're not gonna open it.
I'm gonna be me. Like, I'm gonna be like, why are you so stiff, girl? Relax, girl. Like, what the hell? This is just a podcast. You know what I mean? Okay, let's talk numbers. Fine. What'd you make? What'd you make on your podcast?
Huh?
I mean, what'd you make in your business? What'd you make last week and last month? And every year leading up until now. I'm just joking.
Revenue or profit?
No, I'm just joking. You don't have to give us the numbers. But give us your total sales right now for every month.
Sales?
Sales.
Sales is a bigger number than
What's the bigger number? Sales. No, like in general, how many foods did you sell? Products.
products.
Yes.
3,000.
3,000.
Yes.
So assuming each product is $13, you guys do the math. What's 3,000 times 10? That's 30,000 plus a little bit more.
Plus a little bit more. Yeah. I'm happy that's not how my bank does the math.
But don't
Plus a
forget,
little bit more.
Amazon takes a chunk.
Amazon does indeed take a chunk.
That's really funny. That's funny. Okay, well, that's a great place. You started with $80 every 3 months. How did it feel though? Like you still felt like you were rich, right? At $80.
I felt rich once I cracked in 10,000 a month. 10,000 a month. I was like, I'm balling. Then I realized I am not balling.
Are you gonna download the phone app that shows you how much you make every second? Honestly, I don't think you should. You go crazy.
Yeah, I'm already going crazy. Like, I check Amazon like maybe every like 25 minutes.
I remember when you used to show me Amazon and you're like, look, I sold 20 today.
20? There was a time.
You're like, I sold 20 today, bro. And I'm like,
20. I remember we were in PA and I was in the bathroom in your PA house. And I went on my Amazon and I sold 8 jars that day. I was like, 8 jars? I just sold 8 jars and I didn't do anything.
How many do you sell a day now?
A day? Well, it's different every day. Actually, there were 2 days ago, we had 2 consecutive days of 90 jars a day. That was the most we ever sold. It's usually not like that. Usually the average is like 50, 60. But
That's
those 2 days, it was 90.
That's a lot of jars. That's a lot of jars.
And that was just Amazon. That was not anything else. Because I'm also getting retailers on top of that. I have orders to ship out now. That's just Amazon. That's just the easiest way to track it because it's all in the app.
Right.
Other than that, all of my sales channels, it's like in different places. So I just give Amazon metrics.
I'm naming this podcast the 21-year-old millionaire.
Listen, that's very realistic.
It is. Because it is.
I mean, no, but you know what? To be a millionaire, you have to know what your goal is.
I mean, technically, if you think about it, your assets come out to...
No, like if I were to sell the business,
yeah,
it's worth way more than $1 million. The business
exactly.
itself.
So your assets come out to over...
Plus my car.
Over $1 million. Yeah, bro.
My depreciating asset.
You're lit.
Yeah, no, but I think you have to have the numbers. You can't just be like, oh, I want to be rich. I find it so funny when people say that. They're like, you know, you ask them, so what do you want to do? Or where do you see yourself in 5 rich? Oh, I'm going to be rich. How are you going to be rich?
I agree. I never say that. I think that's so weird to say, oh, what do you want? I want to be rich.
I mean,
like, okay.
Like when people ask me, I can say, I see myself being, you know, like a true millionaire, like the cash. I see myself, okay, how? I can give you the breakdown. I know exactly the numbers I have to make. You have to make 2,766. I know how many jars that is. I know how much that takes. I know how many products I have to have. I have the layout exactly how it has to be. So it's not necessarily about making that money.
But even that statement, I want to be rich, is not going to do anything for you. You're not going to get anywhere.
I find it hilarious.
It's like...
You have to make an impact. You have to solve people's problems. You have to improve people's lives, and the compensation will come for that. You make as much money as society deems you're worth. If you're not making money, you're not contributing to society.
It's like saying, I want to be pregnant, but you don't even have a boyfriend or a husband.
What? What? Angelina!
Nah, but like for real, like, I mean, obviously there's a lot of ways to get pregnant, but you know what I'm saying. Like okay, fine, I want to find true love, but you don't go out and like explore. You're not going to find true, like if you're like sitting there at home every day, going home, work, I want to find true love, you're never going to find true love.
So how do you find true love?
How do you find true love? You get out in the world.
And then what? The world is scary. You know how many people will mess you up in that world?
You go. So what? That's what you're meant to go through. You
so
trust
what do you do
God.
when you get your heart broken?
You move on. You learn. You know now.
So you just move on?
Yeah, you incorporate it. You incorporate it into the next whatever person you're going to meet. What are you talking about? You can't just be scared. I mean, like for us, like we had our fumbles, but we always came back together.
That's a really gentle way to put it.
We had our bumps, but we always came back.
It was not a bump. It was a really big ditch that I fell in.
Whatever,
that this
bro.
Relationship fell into, broke into 1 billion pieces.
Wow, you made that so terrible for everyone. Okay, and what is it now?
No, we glued it together.
Exactly. So If it's true love and it's meant to be, it will always be. Right?
Yeah.
Don't you agree? What, you think finding true love, you just sit at home and you don't go and you
I
don't...
never said that.
Okay, so you have to get out there. You have to look. But where do you look? You look at your hobbies. You go through your hobbies. If you have...
It's not going to be at the bar, that's for sure.
Yeah, but whoever has a hobby to go to the bar, that's just low. I think you're depressed. If you have a drinking hobby...
A drinking hobby? I think that's called alcoholism.
Yeah, like that's not what goes on. Like if you like, I don't know, if you like fish stuff, you go to like an aquarium or like a fish store, you'll probably find a guy who has...
I wouldn't be looking for a guy at a fish store, but like at the gym.
I never said that you would be looking.
If you're religious at church.
But you can't really be actively looking either. It just kind of, you just have to let it happen. Like if you're just out there and you're looking for it, that's how you end up in a bad situation. Because now you're desperate.
Yeah, but I think you also have to, make your intentions known. Especially for girls. We usually, when we like a guy, we don't say anything. We just kind of go, and that's it. And we just hope he likes us enough to make the first move.
What was that?
I just gave you a really quick glance. Yeah, that's all you get. You gotta make something out of that.
I made something out of sliding into your DMs.
Oh, wonderful.
You're not happy about it? What are we going to eat?
Chinese food.
Are you serious? Chinese food?
No, I can't. I have Chinese food like actually 5 times a week. I have to stop.
I would have something like small. I kind of ate a lot today.
No, you did not.
I know. But
You ate a steak, eggs.
Steak, eggs, potatoes. I had a bag of chips from the vending machine and a protein bar. That was my first bag of chips in 2 weeks. I'm a chip addict.
A whole 1,000 calories. I'm a Chinese food addict.
I'm a chip addict. I probably had around 1,000 calories today.
You're so
morbidly
Maybe
1,200.
How could you?
It's terrible.
How are you going to burn that off?
I don't know. We're going to go on a brisk walk.
No, we're not. Bro, it's so cold outside. We're absolutely not. You can go.
Oh my God.
It's actually like 30 degrees outside.
How do you take care of your mental health?
I don't. No, actually, this is revolutionary. ChatGPT, best therapist you could ever get.
You know what I started doing?
Chat understands.
Yo, this podcast is so great. I feel like I could tell you something and you're not allowed to judge me until afterwards. You know what I started doing? Wait, what's the trend? It's like, we're gonna be honest, but we can't get mad or something like that.
Oh, okay.
What is it?
I forgot. Something like that.
Anyway, we're gonna be honest, but we can't get mad. When you start freaking out on me, I screenshot the text and I send it to ChatGPT and I say, reply for me.
Bro, I've been noticing that. No, actually, I've legitimately been noticing that. I'm like, there's no way he typed this up.
If you want to keep your girl, you gotta go. I wanted to make it rhyme, but you gotta go to ChatGPT.
No, I actually have been noticing that.
And that's lit. No, you get the best responses ever.
Let me tell you, I've been noticing that, and then I was gonna call you out on it, but I'm like, he's gonna get offended and he's gonna be more mad at me if I call him out for it.
No.
Because like some of the things, like that's like completely not you.
You can't call me out on that because that's so freaking cute that I would go screenshot it on ChatGPT because I don't want to say anything to aggravate you even more. Isn't that adorable?
You know what I go to ChatGPT for?
That could make me cry.
You know what I go to chat for? I screenshot our text and I say, who's wrong?
I do that too.
And then when it says when you're wrong, when it says I'm wrong, I say, now tell me why Alan's wrong.
Yo, honestly, but like most of the time, you're wrong for me.
You too.
But I don't say that. I don't say, now tell me why.
No, I don't actually say that.
No, but I think that's really cute.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's cute that I do that?
I mean, it's the better option than continuing the argument.
What are you talking about? How's that not cute? That's literally like, that's free
But that's
therapy.
not from your heart. That's not from your heart. You don't mean it. It's not genuine.
That's free therapy because then I learn from ChatGPT and I incorporate it in my own words. So like maybe the first few times I did it with ChatGPT, but then after that, you started realizing a change in my in-person way of doing things. And then it goes into my texting way of doing things. Have you not?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all from ChatGPT. That's literally just studying on, because I see, okay, this calmed her down. This works. Wait, whoa, okay, I have to incorporate this.
Like what?
What do you mean?
Yeah, but anyways, in terms of mental health, ChatGPT, the best free therapist. It's actually incredible. And also, just stepping outside of your brain and being like, it's not as bad as it seems. I feel like, I don't know about everybody else, but I tend to dramatize things and make them 100 times larger in the moment.
Would you say you know who you are?
Do I know who I am? I feel myself a little bit more than I did probably 2 years ago. I'm a little more, I feel a little bit better. But no, I don't know who I completely am. I don't think this business is like what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I don't think this is my defining characteristic.
I don't think you're ever going to know who you are, to be honest. Maybe until you're like 100 years old or whatever, until you can't figure it out anymore.
But I have morals I live by. I have things that I live by.
But you always change. You always change based on your age, based on life experiences. You're going to change no matter what, based on things you learn. There's no way to be the same for ever.
I'm enjoying this. We never talk like this. We're like having it's usually like, why do you think potatoes are brown? And I'm like,
I personally believe that if you are out there and you say you know who you are and you know what you want, you are foolish bullshit.
No, I think you can say what you want.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't mean that's what you're gonna get. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I'm sitting in a warehouse at 9 p.m. on a Friday.
I wanted to be many things, and I still want to be many things, but that list keeps growing for me, and it will keep growing for me, and it will keep changing, and I'll delete stuff and I'll add stuff. I don't think there's going to be ever a point in my life where there's certain things that are set in stone. I want a family, I want kids, and I want a nice place, and I want to have that's okay, but I don't know what my kids are going to turn out to be. I don't know what their personalities are going to be.
But you can't control that.
I can't. I'm going to have to adjust to that differently, I don't know what my future holds, and it's more about just adjusting. Humans are meant to adjust. The human brain is meant to adjust. Same as the human body. And if you allow yourself to be open for the rest of your life, I feel like that's going to take you far. I didn't have that opinion before. Now
but you have to have a path.
No, I always wanted to know exactly what I want, exactly who I am, and where I'm going.
No, you have to
I have a path.
You have to have a direction. If you have two choices to go east or west, you have to know that the general destination you want to get to is west.
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like you want to go north, and you're going north, and there's some beautiful mountains, and you stop by and take some pictures.
Yeah, but you have to know that you want to go north.
And then there's a beautiful lake, and you jump in and take a swim.
But you have to know.
Exactly, but you're still going north while you're doing it.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to have a general direction.
Yeah, of course. But those things are going to change you, you stop by that mountain and you never realized that you like mountain goats, but now you like mountain goats.
I actually caught a wild mountain goat in Spain.
Exactly. And then yeah, so that's really fun. You know what I really miss? That restaurant in Orlando.
Oysters?
Yeah.
I'm glad for you. God bless. Oysters are really healthy. I wish I could eat them, and I'm glad you enjoyed them.
You will.
I enjoyed watching you eat them.
Next time on this podcast, we're going to force Kat to eat an oyster.
No, we are not.
But the general direction is that way.
The general direction is where oysters are not.
That's mean. Oysters did nothing to you.
Which is why I don't want to kill them and eat them.
You're not killing. They're already dead.
No, they're open before they crack them open. I mean, they're alive before they crack them open for you.
Oh, that sucks. Well, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of humans. What are you trying to say? If there's 10 people in this room, does that make any one of us less valuable? I sound like a vegan right now. I'm not a vegan. Yeah. I love meat. I've been sounding like a vegan lately. You should have seen my cart in Walmart the other day because I was making the new foods. So all I had was spinach, kale, collard greens. I filled up the cart like this with just greens. I'm like, people think I'm a psychotic vegan right now. I'm not. I don't even eat vegetables.
That's really funny. That's actually funny. I'd be going into the store now, and I'd be getting so many healthy things. Where I'm like if I was the clerk who was checking me out, I'd be like, this guy's probably a really big fitness influencer. And then I remember I'm not at my goal yet, and I'm like, never mind. They probably think I'm trying to be healthy, and then I'm gonna rip off I'm gonna rip off after 3 days.
You're not that bad. You can't think of yourself that way. What do you mean?
What? I don't think of myself that way. I imagine my mind and the clerk's mind. I'm like, oh, he's probably a really healthy. Look at all this food and oh yeah, he's probably gonna get chips in the next 3 days. Okay, never mind.
That's really mean to say about yourself. I wouldn't think that. I walk around with like so much confidence in myself. You gotta like strut. You gotta like hold your head high.
I have a lot of confidence. I'm not talking about myself.
Your confidence is that you think the clerk thinks you're gonna get chips in 3 days.
No, I'm just thinking about what the clerk might think. Like if I was the clerk, that's what I think. Even for you, if you came in and you got a whole bit, I'm not calling you fat, but like if you came in and got a whole bunch of healthy stuff, I'd be like, look at her trying to be fit.
I don't think that way. I would just be like, God bless, and call it a day. I wouldn't pray on their downfall. I wouldn't be like, oh, you're gonna get chips. I'd be like, God bless. Look how good they're eating. Good job.
You're a really good woman. Okay, close this thing off. What would you say to that little girl out there who wants to be like you? Who's scared?
I don't know about the girl who wants to be like me, but I can say something to the little girl that was me. I can say, I'm just changing every question you ask. I'm just like, yo. No, you know why? Because you asked really good questions the last podcast, and I'm putting those back into here. But to my younger self, I would say, stop stressing about college. You're not even going to need it. Because I was really stressing about Cornell because I really wanted to go. And stop overdoing it with the body issues. Nobody cares. I think that's like the biggest takeaway from everything. Nobody cares as much as you think they care. Legitimately, nobody could care less about you. If you go dance naked right now in the street, people are going to think about you for maybe a couple of hours and they're going to forget. But to you, that feels like the most obnoxious thing. Not condoning that. But I would say, drop the body issues. Your little eating disorder shenanigans will go away and you'll live a perfectly normal life and you'll never think about that again. School is not as important as it seems. And yeah, you're not going to feel as alone as you do right now. And your businesses, you're going to get everything you wanted.
That's really cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you're going to get cats. You're going to get 2 cats, not one. You're going to find one in a dumpster and you're going to bring her home and she's going to get lonely. So you're going to go and you're going to buy another one and you're going to name him Mofsta and you're going to have 2 cats. And then you're going to get the lizards you always wanted. And then you're going to breed the lizards and you're going to get even more. And then you're going to get the warehouse you always wanted. And you're going to have people working for you. And you're going to have time on your hands. And you're going to travel where you want. And you're going to have the car you want. And you're going to have a happy family. And everybody's going to be okay. And Mox is going to have, your little brother's going to have surgery. And it's going to be really scary. But he's also going to be okay. And everything is going to be okay at the end of the day.
Good job.
I almost cried saying that.
You should have shed a tear. Could have made it the thumbnail. Anyway, thank you for coming on here and agreeing to this. Thanks for proving that age is not just a number.
You keep saying that, but what does that even mean?
Like it means that a lot of people at 16 even or 14, like you really don't think you are able to do anything, but like me and Kat were talking too, like back then we thought adults were like everything, like adults had it all figured out and adults are like these like boss people, but like they're really not. Like honestly, there's so many 14, 15, 16-year-olds out there that are way smarter than their own parents and then a lot of adults. I am not encouraging that for anybody, but like it is for like when you're younger, you have like that imaginary system that you have built and that belief system you have built is way greater than people who are in their 40s working the same job every day. And if you can hone in on that, you can take yourself to a lot of places.
Yeah, it seems like adults were like completely different humans, but we're all just kids. It's like Andrew Tate said, when I was little, I thought adults were smart and had everything figured out. Now I'm an adult and I'm like, what the fuck? How does this world even function?
Exactly.
Which is facts, because some people, I don't know how they don't have it figured out.
That's what I mean by that.
Not even money-wise, emotionally.
Yeah, no, it's just that's what I mean by that, you know? Like a lot of people wouldn't have what you have at 21, and the only reason you have it is because you started it so young and you weren't afraid to start it so young. But a lot of kids would be very afraid because their parents would tell them it's not going to work, it's not going to this, it's not going to that, it's not going to this, it's not going to that.
But I'm not even talking about business. I think the most important is just being there emotionally, mentally being together, not freaking out. I know so many adults, like what about people like even road rage? There's so many people who just don't have it together. You just have to really control your mind. Your mind is the only thing you can control.
Yeah.
And that's the most common thing that people lose control of. Yeah. You can't control anything that happens around you. The only thing you control is how you react to it and what you do about it.
Yeah.
And people, including myself, I mean, I'm not perfect. We choose like the worst route to go about things sometimes. I think that's the most important thing to control.
I agree.
Your brain. Because
I
you
agree.
can't control anything else. Can't control yours, even though I sometimes wish I could. But I can't. So I'm just stuck trying to get a hold of mine.
Like I said before, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the best podcast in the world. Yeah.
Live long, swim strong.
Good night.